Assalamualaikum to IR Dr. Fakizan. So we from Group 37 that consists of me, Nur Alia, and my three other teammates such as Macmillan, Muhammad Daniel Hakim and Muhammad Ihsan are going to present our project which titled Segamat Sawdust Factory Explosion in 2021. So as you can see on the screen, this is our table of contents. So these are the contents that we are going to present, which consists from number 1 until number 6. Hi, my name is Nur Alia Sarina and I am going to introduce our case study on the Segamat Sawdust Factory explosion in 2021. So industrial accidents like this highlight the importance of engineering responsibility and proper safety management in industrial facilities. So as we can see in the slide on the screen, the accident occurred on 11 December 2021 in Segamat, Johor, where an explosion at a sawdust processing factory caused 2 fatalities and several injuries. Also, sawdust factories are considered high-risk environments because fine wood dust can accumulate and become highly combustible. When exposed to heat sources such as boilers or sparks, it can trigger a dust explosion. So, in this study, we will analyze the technical causes of the explosion, the engineering responsibilities under REA 1967, and possible prevention strategies to avoid similar incidents in the future.
Hello, my name is Macmillan Malmsteen, and I will be representing an analysis of the Segamat Sawdust Factory explosion, our title for our project group, which occurred on the 11th December 2021 at the sawdust processing factory in Taman Perindustrian Segamat 2 in Johor. This incident will be examined from both a technical and ethical perspective, with references to the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. On that morning, the fire station received an emergency call at 5:15 morning. Firefighters responded immediately, however, at around 10 in the morning, nearly 5 hours into the operation, a secondary explosion occurred on the 3rd floor of the factory, causing the floor structure to collapse. 3 responders were affected. Senior Fire Officer Syed Putra suffered burns to his head from the heat wave. Fire Officer Muhammad Firdaus Sulaiman, age 32, and factory ERT members Muhammad Azuraini Mahrani, age 40, both fell approximately 10 meters when the floor collapsed, and both of them were rushed to the Segamat Hospital's ICU. Unfortunately, they both passed away on 13 December 2021, leaving behind their wife and young children. The entire firefighting operation lasted nearly 18 hours.
The first technical issue is the combustible dust explosion mechanism. In the Segamat factory, sawdust accumulated along the boiler conveying pathway on the 3rd floor. Combustible dust explosion occur when 5 conditions are present, known as the dust explosion pentagon: full, oxygen, dispersion, confinement, and an ignition source. When the fire started at about 5:15 a.m., heat lightly dispersed and the sawdust into the air, forming a dust cloud. This cloud later ignited and caused a secondary explosion around 10 a.m. The second issue is adequate dust control and ventilation system. Industrial facility handling combustible dust should install dust collection system such as bed filters or cyclone separators. Proper ventilation is also required to keep dust concentration below the explosive limit. In this case, the large amount of accumulated sawdust suggests that dust control system were either adequate or poorly maintained. The third issue involved boiler safety and maintenance. Boiler operated under high temperature and pressure, making them high-risk equipment. In the Segamat factory, the boiler was located along the sawdust conveying pathway, and any spark, heat, or gas leakage from the boiler could easily ignite surrounding sawdust. Proper risk assessment, such as hazard, should have been conducted to identify and mitigate these hazards. Finally, the secondary explosion caused part of the factory's 3rd floor to collapse, resulting in responder falling about 10 meters. Industrial building handling combustible material should include explosion relief panels to release pressure safely. The collapse suggests that the building may not have been designed to withstand the explosion loads. This raises the concern about the engineering responsibility under the Registration of Engineering Act 1967 Malaysia, which required engineering work to be supervised by qualified professional engineers. Thank you.
Next, I will cover the ethical dimension on this incident, examined through the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. The first failure is the failure to protect public safety under Section 4 of REA 1967. The engineers are legally bound to uphold professional ethics with public safety as the top priority. Section 2 also defines that professional engineering services as included the operation, maintenance, and management of engineering works, meaning that the factory boiler system falls under this definition. The failure to keep workers safe is both a legal and ethical violation. The second failure is the lack of qualified supervision. Section 7 restricts engineering works to registered person only, while Section 10D requires a valid practicing certificate. The evidence suggests that no qualified engineers was overseeing the factory system, a direct violation of the Act. Thirdly, there was a clear failure in organizational safety culture. Factory management appears to have prioritized cost over safety, and they neglect the dust control system, risk assessment, and proper engineering oversight. And finally, on the accountability, Section 14A, 14B, and 15 empowers BEM disciplinary committee to investigate negligence engineers and cancel their registration. The death of 2 people demand that it's accountable.
Hi everyone, my name is Muhammad Din Hakim, and in this session I'll be presenting recommendation to prevent similar industrial accident from happening in the future. There are several improvements should be implemented. First, industrial facility handling combustible material must conduct mandatory engineering risk assessment such as hazard or process hazard analysis. This assessment should be carried out and certified by registered professional engineers in accordance with the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. Second, factories should install proper dust control and explosion protection system. Equipment such as dust collector and explosion relief panel can reduce the risk and severity of dust explosion. Third, stricter boiler safety inspection should be enforced, especially for boiler located near combustible material. Regular inspection by qualified engineers can help identify hazard early. Fourth, mandatory safety training should be provided to factory workers and emergency response team members so they are better prepared to handle industrial fires or explosion. Finally, stronger enforcement of the Registration of Engineers Act 1967 and regular independent safety should be implemented to ensure engineering work is properly supervised and safety standards are maintained. This measure can significantly improve industrial safety and help prevent similar accidents from happening in the future. That's all from me. I'm going to pass to the next presenter.
In conclusion, the Segamat sawdust factory explosion was mainly caused by the accumulation of combustible sawdust dust, which was likely ignited by heat or sparks from the boiler area. Also, the lack of proper dust control and ventilation systems, it also increased the explosion risk and led to partial structural collapse. Next, to conclude, from engineering perspective, this incident highlights the importance of professional responsibility under the Registration of Engineers Act 1967. Engineers must ensure safe system design, proper maintenance, and effective risk management in industrial facilities. Result is the prevention. So to prevent similar incidents or accidents in the future, industries should implement dust collection systems, conduct engineering risk assessments such as PHA or HAZOP, improve boiler safety monitoring, and strengthen overall safety culture and enforcement. To sum up, overall, this case reminds us that engineering decisions play a critical role in protecting workers, infrastructure, and public safety. Thank you.